Hello everyone, my name is Ivo and welcome to Cooking with the Koyas. Well, if you are gluten intolerant or if you know somebody who is gluten intolerant, you're going to love today's recipe because today, folks, we're going to make a sourdough gluten-free bread, artisan style. And to top it all off, it's easy to make. It's going to be very simple steps, simple ingredients, nothing complicated, but the results are going to be amazing. So a few things. I have a beautiful, beautiful sourdough starter right here. This is my gluten-free sourdough starter. And if you see where the elastic is, that's where the level of my sourdough starter was before feeding. And you can see where it is here now after feeding. It's basically tripled in size. We have got a beautiful, gorgeous sourdough starter right here. And if you haven't seen the episode on how I make this, I'll put a link in the description because you know what? This is also very easy to do. Okay, so I've got a beautiful, active sourdough starter, and that's what you need, an active sourdough starter. And we're gonna start off by using now. The flour I'm gonna use is this one right here. Gluten-free Caputo Fioreglut flour. It is gluten-free. It is unbelievable. I'm not here to promote Caputo, but I am here to say I've used this flour and it's fantastic. Please use whatever flour you like, but if the results don't come as they do in this episode, it's because of the flour. So there are other good flours out there. King Arthur makes good flours. Find the one that works for you. This one works for me. I love it. It's made in Italy. Okay, so having said that, I do want to read to you, it says here on the package, gluten-free flour, specifically formulated for people who are gluten intolerant. Now, the ingredients, this is the key to this flour. Gluten-free wheat starch. Caputo has figured out a way to take the gluten out of the wheat starch. So, gluten-free wheat starch, dextrose, maize starch, buckwheat flour, rice starch, psyllium seed fiber, thickener, gar, and flavoring. Beautiful. This flour works great. So, speaking of flour, let's get started. Here I have 425 grams, which is 15 ounces, of our Caputo Fioreglut flour. To that, I'm going to add 10 grams of, I just have regular fine table salt, 10 grams of salt, which is a teaspoon and a half. We're going to mix that in together. Okay, now we're going to add, I have here 325 grams of warm water. Warm meaning 90-degree water. And 325 grams is about 11 and a half ounces. Alrighty. Now, to that, I need to get my teaspoon measurement. Okay, I have my teaspoon. We're going to add 3 teaspoons of extra virgin olive oil, which is 12 grams. Okay, so this one I don't mind not weighing, but usually everything else I weigh. Okay, 3 teaspoons of extra virgin olive oil. Alrighty. Now, for the most important ingredient, we're going to add our sourdough starter. So, we're going to add 150 grams of sourdough starter, which is about, let me check my notes here, 5.2 ounces. So 150 grams, 5.2 ounces. Let me measure this out right now and come right back. Oh, beautiful, beautiful sourdough starter, folks. Nice and active and bubbly. That's what you want. That's one of the keys to a good sourdough bread. Okay, 146. Let's get that all in there. Beautiful. It's actually a little more than 150. There we go. Alrighty. So, let's put this scale away. Okay, now that we have that measured out, 150 grams of our beautiful, beautiful sourdough starter. Okay, We get it all in there. And now, quite simply, we're gonna mix all these ingredients together. So step one, pretty easy. Flour, water, salt, sourdough starter, mix. That's the start of our sourdough bread dough. So let me mix this and get everything all incorporated. You want all the liquid absorbed into the flour. And then we're going to work on this. Yes, we're going to get our hands in there, folks. Don't worry. I like to get it started with a spatula. And a firm spatula works really, really good. Okay, so now I'm going to get in there with my hands, folks. Let's get in there. Let me just remove that. You can see how it's starting to come together. Right now we just have a very rough dough. Now to knead it, or mix it, you're going to put a little olive oil. Olive oil is your friend when it comes to gluten-free. So I'm just squeezing it all together. This is called the pincer method. Just squeeze it together. Simply take the dough in between your hands and squeeze it. It's really that easy. And it's the dough it's not hard, it's not firm. This is very, very easy to do. Now, if you have a dough mixer, by all means, use your dough mixer. No problem. I like to do it by hand because not everybody has a dough mixer, and this is a universal way to do it. So basically, you want to continue squeezing until all the little lumps are gone and you have a nice smooth dough. Okay, this only takes about a minute, folks, really. It doesn't take long at all, and we've got a nice smooth dough already. And yes, it's going to stick to your hands. Okay, I got my hands all cleaned up now, and you can see we have a nice dough there. It's kind of like a paste. It's not like your typical dough. It's more of a paste. So all we're going to do now, I'm just going to scrape the edges. Okay, and let it all come together. It's almost like a Play-Doh. You know, it's really, really different than a regular dough. So now, quite simply, we're going to cover it, and we're just going to let it rest because it's been through a little bit, and we're going to rest for 20 to 30 minutes. Here we are. It's been about 20 minutes, and our dough looks about the same, but it's been resting very, very nicely. So now what we're going to do is just shape it, and we're going to put it into this bread banneton. Now, if you don't have a banneton, you can just continue to use your bowl, okay? But I love using this. It adds texture, lets it grow properly, and it makes the bread look amazing. So to this, I've got gluten-free flour, and I'm going to basically sprinkle gluten-free flour all on the inside of this banneton, okay? Because we don't want our dough to stick. When it's time to come out and bake, we want it to remove very, very easily. Now for this, I do not use my Caputo Fioreglut flour because that's pricier than I use the cheapest gluten-free flour I can find for this job right here. Okay, again, extra virgin olive oil. We're going to put a little bit on our hands. Okay, and then quite simply, let's take our dough, which is, like I say, pasty. I could have used a spatula, but we got most of it out there. Okay, and now, quite simply, just take your dough and form it into a nice ball. Make a nice big meatball. Okay, actually, a little bit, I'll scrape that little bit of extra dough on there. And again, because you put the olive oil on your hands, it's not going to stick. And basically, we're just going to shape it into a ball, just like that. Okay, one big meatball. In the banneton it goes. Take a little bit of gluten-free flour, sprinkle it on the top, and quite simply, we're going to cover it, and we're going to let it double. Now, depending on the heat in your kitchen, typically it takes anywhere from 3 to 6 hours, typically. Let's see how long ours takes today. So here we are, folks, some 11 hours later, and look at our beautiful sourdough gluten-free bread dough right there. So It's starting to crack a little bit here along the edges, so I'm going to say we're going to get ready to bake that. Now, it depends on your house. I had this in the oven with the light on, so I kept it nice and warm, folks. So 11 hours did it, but honestly, it could be anywhere from 10 hours up to 16 hours, depending on the temperature in your house and the environment and the strength of your sourdough. So anywhere from 10 to 16 hours, which is why it's a great idea to start this the night before, go to bed, and then the next day, see how it's going, and then bake your bread. So anyhow, right now, I think, folks, we are going to fire up the oven. So the oven's going to preheat. I'm going to preheat the oven to 450 degrees. And I've got an empty Dutch oven here that I'm going to put in the oven. So not only are we going to preheat the oven, we're going to preheat the Dutch oven as well. So it's going to go in empty, 450 degrees. We'll come back in 30 minutes. Okay, our preheat is done. Let's take our Dutch oven out of the oven. Okay, let's get our bread in there. Okay, maybe not our bread. Let's get our dough in there. That makes more sense. Look at that beautiful dough. Okay. Off comes our lid. The Dutch oven is piping hot. So I'm going to carefully now take this beautiful dough, place it into the Dutch oven. Oh, I can see it's already cracked a bit. So with a bread lame, you want to make a crack, but it already has a crack. However, I will continue and just give it a nice crack. That'll allow it to rise nicely. Okay, if you don't have a bread lame, folks, you could just use a pair of scissors. That's no problem. Okay, the lid goes on. This is very important. We're going to put it back in the oven, and it's going to bake with the lid on for 30 minutes. Okay, and in it goes. We will see you in 30 minutes. Okay, so 30 minutes are up. Let's take a look at how our bread is doing. Oh, looky there, folks. We're on the way to having a winner. Okay, so at this point, the lid comes off. We're going to let that bread continue to bake at 450 for another 10 minutes with the lid off. Okay, 10 minutes are up. We're going to crank this up to broil now. But let's take a look at our bread. Okay, it's looking nice. You see there it's white, pretty much white in color. So we're going to try to add some color by going to the broil option. And we're going to broil it for about 5 minutes to see if we can add some color to the top of that bread. So it's been 5 minutes. Let's take a look. 5 minutes on broil. And looky there, folks. We got some color happening right there. Okay, let's turn the oven off. Look at our beautiful sourdough gluten-free bread, folks. Okay, let's take it out and give it a rest. Okay, yes, let's take that beautiful bread out of our Dutch oven. There we go, folks. Hey, there we have it right there, folks. That is a beautiful, listen to it, it's already crackling a bit. Just a little bit. So what's happening now is the crust is still developing and the crumb is still developing. So we don't want to cut into this beautiful bread right now. We want it to rest at least 30 minutes. So we're going to put this down and let it rest for 30 minutes. But see how that little bit of broiling for the last 5 minutes put some nice color on the top of our bread? Isn't that nice? Okay, so we're going to let it rest. And I'm going to put it on a rack here, right there, so that it doesn't sweat. We're going to let it rest very patiently. Then we're going to cut into it, folks. And yes, the taste test. And remember, this is a sourdough gluten-free bread. It's not your regular bread, but it kind of looks like a regular loaf, doesn't it? Well, we're going to see what the inside looks like. And then, of course, the taste test. So let's let it rest for a little while. We'll come right back at you. So our bread has cooled down nicely. It's actually been about, I'm going to say about an hour. So we'll take one last look at this beautiful loaf of bread. All right, let's go cut into it. So I am going to cut it right up the middle, folks. It sounds nice. Oh yeah, look at there, folks. We got a really nice crumb and we've got a beautiful, beautiful crust going on right there. And the crumb, look at there, folks. It's nice and airy. I don't know if you could see better there. Let's zoom in a bit on this. Oh yeah, let's take a look at this beautiful gluten-free sourdough bread. Look at the aeration on that crumb. And look at the crust. Folks, we got a winner right here. Let's do a taste test. Yes, the taste test. Let's cut an end piece off. I do like the end pieces. Oh, that is so nice, folks. Yeah, I got to keep reminding myself, this is gluten-free bread. It looks like regular bread, and the taste. Folks, the taste of this bread, outstanding. The crust is super, very nice, thick crust, crunchy. The crumb is nice and tender, chewy, beautiful. It's got that sourdough flavor. Folks, it's a winner. You know, I've got other recipes for gluten-free. I've got gluten-free pizza, bread, focaccia, and now we've got a beautiful sourdough gluten-free bread, artisan style. Folks, there's no reason for those of you who are gluten intolerant to not be able to enjoy a sourdough bread. Not anymore. I hope you give this recipe a try. It's absolutely fantastic. Thanks for spending time in the kitchen with me today. And as always, folks, until next time, buon appetito. That bread, folks, you'd never know is gluten-free. You could serve it as regular bread. Beautiful.